Howdy ho, YTBC. Easy Embers here. Wanted to do a VR for Papa Bear and his generous giveaway. I was watching his video whenever he announced it, and he's very generous, very generous. And while I was watching the video, I kind of looked up behind me real slow, and I noticed I've got about 5 empty spaces there that I need to kind of get filled in, you know. That I think one of those pipes might look real good up there. I think it'll look real good, and I think it'd match my hat pretty good, you know, just kind of set it off, you know. But thank you very much for the generous offer and opportunity, Papa Bear. Housekeeping. Volcano cream. And I'm having it here in my heavily rusticated horn. I got this from a antique store. There was a guy that was running the store. He went out and bought somebody's pipe supply, and there was about 40 pipes in there. Most of them looked new, pretty untouched, and you know it was a lot of your over-the-counter kind of pipes, your Medicos and your Grabos and things like that, which all looked wonderful. But this one caught my eye in particular because I don't know what it is. It does have some markings on it. It says companion. I don't know. It's got like a, I don't know, I have to look a little closer at it, but can't turn it over, you know, because all that. But it caught my eye because, one, I didn't have a horn pipe, and I like nose warmers myself. I kind of like the medium to shorter pipes for the most part, and this fella was definitely the one that the previous owner used. It was the work pipe, and it had all these rustications, but some of those rustications are not rustications. They are like, it looked like it had been chipped, it had been worn away, like it had black lacquer on it, or you know, black coating, and half of it was chipped away, like it had been put through the works. So I took it home, and I was like, this one I need to give love to. The other ones look great, they're nice, they're in good condition. This one, I can tell he used it more than all the others, and it had cake. Oh my gosh, it had an inch worth of cake in it. You couldn't fill a bowl. So I was like, that's the guy. That's the good smoker right there. Stood out to me. And I was wanting to dedicate one pipe to just Lakeland blends. So that's what I'm trying to do. I did have to touch him up quite a bit. Recoated him, sanded everything kind of smooth on those bumps and everything. It comes out nice. Give it a nice kind of shine back to it again. It's nice. I like it. But on to the virtual response. Something that I have collected since I was in middle school. Well, no, actually elementary school, about 3rd grade, was trading cards. And what kind of got it started was a thing that I haven't heard hardly at all anymore. It was Digimon. I don't know if anybody really got into that. I didn't get into it for long. Digimon turned into, after a short stint, Yu-Gi-Oh, because I thought Yu-Gi-Oh cards looked a lot cooler than Digimon. And from there, the natural progression was Pokemon. And I collected Pokemon cards all the way up until I was about in high school, and that's whenever life kind of kicked in. And It's a little wet. I had family members, aunts and uncles, who would get like the booster packs and all of that. And I kind of got started collecting just as like the base sets were coming into the US. And I don't know what year that was, but I got in to it right at the first generation. And I've always been kind of a protective kid with stuff, so I didn't, bend the cards or anything. I put them in protective sleeves and all that because I thought they were beautiful. They were works of art to me. And shortly after getting my first couple of sets, collector's books started coming out. And they were included in these collector's books was all these pictures of different cards, and next to it was their current value due to like the rarity that was around. And I picked one up, one of these little booklets for like 50 cents, 25 cents, something like that. It's just a little flip book. And I started looking through that book, and my like elementary eyes gawked at the price on some of those cards. There's cards that were like these little scraps of paper. To me, it just blew my mind. These little scraps of paper with all these cool pictures on them. They were going for like $50. A couple of them were like $300. And the more I started looking, I was like, some of those pictures in there, they look pretty similar to some of the ones I got. So from then on, that was kind of the addiction. No, addiction's kind of a strong word. If I had an opportunity to buy some, I would. Christmas time, I asked for me, gifts, and I kind of, said, hey, I kind of like this collection, and they came out with new generations and new collections. I collected through the first, 4 generations, 3 or 4, and then kind of stopped. And the interest didn't reappear again until after here I am working my job as an adult for about 5 years. And then some of my students in class started leaving behind their Pokemon cards. And I'd try and hunt them down and be like, hey, somebody left these cards, who wants them? Nothing. So I'd leave them on my desks. Students could walk in and see them, and they could claim them, and nobody's claiming them. Probably some after school programs, some kids left them. So I had this little stack for 5 years that kind of built up on my desk covered in dust. It's about that big of a stack. And I eventually just said, I'm taking them home. No one's interested, no one's claiming them. It's been 5 years, whatever. And so I started looking them up, and I couldn't believe my eyes. The price had just ballooned. And so I started looking into it more. And long story short, I had made some friends and acquaintances that had just gotten into buying and selling and trading big time Pokemon cards. And I said, hey, I've got some first gen stuff, second and third gen stuff. Would you mind to take a look at it and just see what you think? Well, like I said, long story short, I'm currently going through and selling some of those cards. So I don't have a whole lot to show you. They're currently getting graded and sent off, which the grading system was something that I was not aware of at all or anything like that. But I do have one to show because the middleman who's kind of doing this for me, that we have this arrangement, he's getting them graded for me and he's doing the research, and then he's being the footman. He's selling off certain ones there. He gave me this one in return. He said, I felt like this is appropriate. This is one of the new generations of cards. It's nice and pretty, little foil and everything, but you can see on there it says Ethan's Adventure. That's me. So the Easy E is Ethan's Adventure. And so this really has been kind of a fun little adventure that's carried me through my life up to this point, and just been kind of in the background for a while. And now me and the wife are getting to enjoy it all anew again a little bit, and I'm getting to make some cool connections and getting to talk with some of my students about the new stuff that's coming out now, because there's so many more Pokemon now that I've never heard of or anything. So I'm getting to reconnect and all of that, and so that's what I've collected in my time, and who knows? It'll probably always be a thing and a way for me to connect with the kids and the students that I teach as long as I am teaching. But Papa Bear, that's been my biggest collection right there, is Pokemon cards. And I don't know if there's anybody else out there that's Pokemon card collector. We can talk Pokemon at some time, but I really like the stamps. That's a classic right there. And that George Washington stamp is really quite interesting. That's beautiful. And thank you for the little history lesson there on the Iron Gall ink to mark it out. It's quite cool. You know, it's a fun thing. Collecting is a fun thing, and it is a source of pride for people. And it's just fun. It is an artifact of character. And I think it's pretty cool. It's pretty neat. But anyways, I hope that'll work for my submission in there. And thank you once again for being so generous. And if any of you that run into this video, if you're fellow Pokemon collectors, let me know. We can talk holographics and star ratings and all that. But blessings to you all. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Hope you're enjoying a good smoke to end out the evening. I'll see you next time.